Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
You are listening to the Brilliance Business Show, conversations with leading experts in business. And today I have a wonderful guest, Tamara L. Hunter. Tamara is president and co-founder, and our topic today is healing through connections. Tamara, I'm really looking forward to a conversation with you today.
Thank you, Mark. I am too.
Tamara, before I get started, I just need to make a legal disclaimer. Tamara is not offering legal advice or legal assistance, so let's get started with the show. Tamara, can you share with our listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do?
I would love to. I am from the United States, Southern California to be exact. And what I do actually is I am helping the world face something right now that too many have been facing alone. And that is, I have a nonprofit that was started 4 years ago that is all about healing through connections, yes. And it's for those people that have been affected by cancer. I have been, and many others. We have found a way that we can make a difference, and we can make a difference together that is going to make sense in our own individual lives and in the lives of those that are, for your listening audience. Many are in business. I have had my own businesses, and I have ran other very big, for large corporate businesses, Fortune 100s. I was in management, and my mind thinks in that way. And when it came to my own personal experience and starting a nonprofit, it was, how can we do this by putting into principle and practice those elements of the actual business world, because a 501c3, a nonprofit, is actually a business. And yet too many people throughout the world are hearing that they have cancer. And it's becoming an epidemic, Mark, and we need to change it, and we can, because really our world cannot sustain where it's going and what's projected for 2030 if we don't do something about it now in 2020, 2021. So that's what we're doing. We're doing it. We're making a difference. One person, one buddy at a time is what we're saying. I'm sorry, Mark. Go ahead.
You are certainly doing it, Tamara. I mean, you have only touched the surface there for our listeners. Tamara is such an inspiration. Her story, we've only heard a little bit of the icing on the cake, is truly, truly inspirational. But also the impact and the movement she's making in the world for people that are going through cancer, and giving them hope and really helping them to have something to live for is really, really just incredible, Tamara. And you mentioned a non-profit is a business, which some people don't get that concept, Tamara. Now, I am actually involved in some non-profits. I was on a radio show, which was a non-profit. I was also part of the City Gala with Ryan Lung on their weekly mastermind calls. So I already knew this concept, and that a non-profit is a business. Can you just share with our listeners a little bit more clarity on that?
Absolutely. I'm very happy to do that. It's important for people to understand this, because depending on where you come from, what your experience has been. When you think of nonprofit, you immediately go into a certain place in your mind. I would like for us to think in terms of, if you will, clearing that whiteboard, clearing the chalkboard, and let's start over and look at it in straight terms. And that is, a nonprofit is a business. It's a business that has a purpose and will help the community in which it serves, and so that it will allow for, if you will, other entities such as governments and such to not have to go and spend tax dollars from the government to go serve this population. A nonprofit says, I will go and serve this population, and in return, what we will do is, in a business way, with an organization chart, with the standard roles that are needed to take care of that community in a business, with the business, in return, government, then you will allow for us to not have to pay taxes, because we're doing the work that your tax dollars would typically pay for. So then it allows for the nonprofit to be in a non-tax status. Other than that, it must be ran for it to be sustainable in a business way. Now, it can be ran with volunteers. However, you better have volunteers that are going to be dedicated to what it is that you're doing, and so that then you can actually go out there and serve the community in which you've committed to. And that's exactly what we've done. We have committed to see that we are easing the suffering of those affected by cancer. In particular, the isolation piece of it, it has been proven by medical journals, by science, that if you are isolated, there's a good chance you're not going to live as long as someone that has been socialized. And UK, your country, has done it's been published 2017, July. And the bottom line is that we as a global community, it's time for us to say no more. We are no longer going to let that 6-letter word rule what is happening, because truthfully, when you look at manpower hours, you look at the dollars and cents of it. And boy, I can get into the heart all day long on this, but this is a business show, so let's look at it in a business sense right now. Why does this make sense to pay attention? Well, because bottom line, I used to be a recruiter, a headhunter, and I did do international headhunting. And the employment cost, if nothing else, and the insurance costs, if you don't, Mr. and Miss business person, if you don't pay attention to this, it can actually do damage to your bottom line. So we, at the nonprofit that we have started, that I have started, I'm president and co-founder of, we have actually found a pretty simple way. It's easy, not simple, but an easy way to actually make a difference. And we say that we're doing it with humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a whole lot of love. And wouldn't we all do something to have one day longer with someone that possibly gained their wings from cancer? I know I would, and I have a feeling many of you out there would too. And that is what my mission is, what our mission is to end the suffering that's been happening. And the World Health Organization, you go on there and you look at the articles that they have published lately, they're saying that the idea of us actually easing the suffering, they would probably say, well, the will of the human soul, and then backed up by common sense and good business strategy, We can change the way cancer is done throughout the world, but we have to band together, guys. We must band together, and it will save bottom lines on your revenue. And then you can actually feel good about yourselves, because if you get involved one way or another, then you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm a dang good business person, but you know what? I'm also a business person with a heart.
Yes.
And that goes a long way.
Tamara, you really gave great clarity there about how a non-profit is a business. I actually learned a lot more than I knew, so you really gave great clarity there. You also mentioned about being isolated, which at the moment we're all isolated with the crisis that we're all in with the virus, etc., etc. So I can only imagine how hard it is for these people that are suffering with cancer. And it's just so great that you are there coming from the heart. Yes, it's a business what you do, but I know that for you, it's not about money. It's not about it being a business, even though you treat it like one. You are truly, truly about service and really, really helping people to have a better quality of life. Tamara, do you recall a specific aha moment that led to the launch of your business?
Oh, yes, I do. I'll never forget it. It's the day that my life changed in many ways. It was December the 10th, 2014, and I went for my very first day of treatment because I am a cancer survivor myself. And I did go with a traditional model. So thus, I did go to a chemotherapy room. I was in the chair. They gave me my huge dose of Benadryl, so I was asleep. And all of a sudden, through a fog, I'm hearing a voice, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I realized I couldn't open my eyes. My face was on fire. My throat was closing up, and I'm holding my throat like the universal, "You're choking." I remember it to this moment, how that felt. And I realized I wasn't okay. However, that voice was the voice of the daughter who became my original buddy. And we traveled our journey, our health journey together, healing through connections. And doctors and nurses saw that we were raising the frequency every time we would even drive onto the pavement, because we literally traveled this road together. And we saw how people were relating to us. And our doctors and our nurses, they gave us they would say, double trouble. They're here, the party bus. And then the aha moment came because of the fact that my nurses and my doctors, they said that the day that I had that reaction and I met my buddy, they kind of set us up. We graduated. There was a big, huge party. And one of the people that a half a year later, so it was 2 years in, the nurse looked at me and she said, the only time we ever saw someone smile was at a big party we had thrown. Coconut bras on the chemo poles and everything. We had a luau celebrating. We didn't ring a bell. We did a luau. It's what you do when you double trouble, right? And she said, she wasn't the sickest one in the room, but someone had passed. And she had passed because they really believed that she had never really had support. She was sad, and the only time they ever saw her happy was that day, the luau day, the day where the coconut bras were on the chemo poles. And my nurse looked at me and said, when are you going to do something? You have the answer. We can make a difference. And I realized that my experience in that chair when I was grabbing at my throat, that was the best day that ever happened, because my life's purpose became apparent to me through my journey of healing through connections, and that we can change it. We can have those people that feel like they're alone. They don't need to be. That person in the middle of the night that is thinking, I have no one. Why does it even matter? Why does it matter? Well, it matters. And now they do. They have us. They have the buddies. And our mission, my mission, will not stop until every person throughout the world can have their own buddy. We have a delivery system, and we are making a difference. So now we need a global family to say it's time. And I believe the timing could not be better, because of, unfortunately, we are in a shut-in situation. But everybody now understands what those facing cancer have known for a long time, the shut-in situation. Now you all understand what we have gone through to get to the other side, the healing through connection, to that next chapter of our lives. It's time for us to band together and say no more. We're kicking the power of cancer to the curb as a global family.
Tamara, that is such a beautiful ha-ha moment. I really, really just love your energy. I love what you do. I love how it's all about helping others, and just what a touching story. And I'm so glad you took action and built this community, this non-profit, to really make an impact in the world. What really motivates you to jump out of bed every single day?
That's an easy one for me. It's that one. It's actually, it started with my mom. My mom was the one, because I could not ease her suffering of isolation, because I didn't know at the time that she was suffering from bone marrow cancer, one of the most painful cancers that there is. And she was in the hospital because she had contracted pneumonia. And then while she was there, she contracted MRSA and some of the other superbugs. And she couldn't come back. She lived with me in my home. She had her own little area. She couldn't come back to the house because I was going through treatment. I was very susceptible, of course. So she had to go somewhere else. And she would scream out and cry out, and I'd be getting calls to say, can't you do anything? And I had lost my voice because of my chemo sores were on my vocal cords. And I'm thinking, what am I supposed to do? I can't do anything for my own mother. I couldn't do anything for her. I couldn't be there for her. I couldn't hold her hand. I couldn't ease her pain and her suffering. I had to fight to be able to bring her home for the last 10 days of her life, to be under our roof, and so that she could gain her wings here. And every day I come into where her room was, her area of the house, and this is my filming room. This is my area that I am building this from. I couldn't ease her suffering. She wanted me to hold her hand, something as simple as skin to skin. And the reason I was able to bring her home is I had to promise I would not touch her because I was still in treatment. I couldn't touch my mom's hand. She didn't understand it. At the time, she didn't get it. And so every single day, I now think about those people that are not understanding why they're in pain, why they are alone, why. And something as simple, if you will, as having a community, a buddy of their own, someone that they can have to help them through and to ease that suffering. I know that those that we are touching Those that we are touching, we are making a difference. But I also know how many throughout the world have no idea that they themselves can have a buddy. Those people throughout the world, they may not have clean water, but you know what? They probably have a cell phone. They have access to the internet, so they can have a buddy. They don't have to be alone like my mom felt. That's what gets me up every day. Every day.
That is so beautiful. I'm really sorry that it was such... I can only imagine how hard that was to go through, and you're just an inspiration to so many people. I really know the heart that you're coming from, and there's a lot of families out there that will have been through similar circumstances. Everybody knows someone that is suffering through cancer, and people do need to be more educated, and I'm just glad there's people like you in the world to really educate people, but also to really help them to make progress and give them something to carry on living for. Tamara, can you share a little bit about why your service is especially important in today's modern world?
Well, let's just say this. If there wasn't, why it's important is because we are doing something that should have been done a long time ago, and I understand why it hadn't been, because it's not easy. However, we are doing it, and in this modern world, people, it's amazing how many times you'll hear, oh yeah, we have the internet, and yet I feel more isolated and alone than I ever have, because it's a bittersweet in which we are living right now with all of the digital products, all of the connection, and yet there is such a lack of connection.
Yes.
Now we have the tools, and you know what? It's like anything. You can look at the tool available for its good or its evil. I choose to look at the good, and how we have a delivery system now, today, that we can make a difference. And if we collectively understand this, like you said, are educated in what we can do, think of it, Mark. We are going to save lives. We will save lives together. And that is what today, my mission today, you think about it, today is the present, which is a gift. The gift of today is the present. So are you going to show up empty-handed, or are you going to show up with a present of the fact that with a buddy, someone can actually decide that they do want to live, that they want to heal through that connection. And should they gain their wings, we have helped so many to gain their wings in a way that they were ready. They were able to take care of things. They knew that their family would be okay. They knew that they were able to, if you will, heal from whatever it is that was ailing in their life and they needed to take care of. We've helped that situation too. So the time is now. Today is the gift of the present.
I love that. Everything happens in the present moment, Tamara. Mm-hmm. Now, could you just share a little bit of detail on the kind of service you offer?
Absolutely. Number one, we have a belief that we can heal through connections. It's a threefold. Healing through connections with ourselves. Many people that are affected by cancer, if you go into the reasons, I'm not going to right now, but there's a lot of school of thought and science to it, that many that have a cellular level that's gone cattywampus, if you will, it can be because of stress and a variety of different things. If you can heal within yourself, you're absolutely at a higher level of a percentage of being able to heal through the whole experience, healing through having a buddy, having someone that you connect with and be able to really say, hey, you know, you understand there is something to that understanding that is huge, and it enables us to feel like, wow, I was heard, I was understood, I can keep going. And then healing through connection, it's been proven. I mean, look into blue zones, look into the science of that connection of through a community. That is huge. We are big about education. Education is critical. If we can understand things like a power, believe it or not, the power of our words, the power of love. We're going to talk about that. It's huge. The power. And we have, so we have programs and education. We are going to be implementing here soon so much more. However, we deliver it through, think of like a matching site, like a lot of the dating matching sites, but we have a buddy site. It's cb4l.org, cb4l.org. It's free. It's not free for us, of course. However, it's free for the world to come and get a buddy, a support buddy, for those people that love and support the patient, a patient buddy for the patients, and so much more. We are building a community. And when you build a community, there's different aspects of it. I think of it like a mall. You go into the mall and you have the shoe store, you have the clothes store, you have maybe the food section, and you want to do a well-rounded mall trip. Well, that's what we're building within the Buddies Network.
Truly amazing, and a community which will stop people from feeling isolated, someone to talk to, someone to share moments with, someone to confide in, a friend, a mentor. It's truly, truly inspiring. Now, I know you have all sorts of client success stories, Tamara. I want you to pick just one that stands out in your mind.
Yes, I have plenty of them. One that stands out in my mind is one that I did actually have a show on, the Service Hero show, not long ago. We have one of our buddies that when she came to us, a stage 4, she had pretty much given up, and yet she had found out about us and thought, okay, well, I'll give it a try. And she started implementing, we do have a lot of education. We bring in a lot of experts, a lot of certified, licensed specialists in different areas. And she started putting into practice a lot of what was being taught. And within 6 months, she had gone through one PET scan, and it was not good. Then within 6 months, she went through another PET scan. The only thing that had changed was really implementing what she was learning within our community. That PET scan, a stage 4, showed no evidence of cancer. No evidence of cancer.
No, that is what I call a huge, huge success story. Yes. I think you picked a good one there, Tamara.
Yes. And what's great, Mark, is we have so many. That's one.
Beautiful, Tamara. I'm so happy to have you in my friendship circle. I think you're incredible. Now, we have talked about business, but I just want to touch on our last few minutes. 1, congratulations on becoming a best-selling author. And 2, you have this big, big project that's coming up as well. Can you just share for the last few minutes a little bit about your book, where people can grab a copy, and also a little bit about the great project that's coming up?
Thank you, Mark. Yes, the book, Mastering Our Mountains. You can find it on Amazon, and you'll know I'm on there as one of the contributing authors, and it has my title there as the very first Global Next Impactor. And the event, everyone get ready to put your groovy on. We are going for the Tour of Love. The Tour of Love is a 36-hour live event streaming throughout the world to 80 million screens on E360 TV platform, so you can get it anywhere, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, those. We are the next Jerry Lewis Telethon. We have stars, we have comedy, we have music, and we're doing it all COVID style, but we've found a way because we have an Emmy award-winning director that's over the 36 hours of programming. I will be live the whole 36 hours, so you'll be able to see me in the very beginning and then watch it through.
Will we be able to see you brushing your teeth, Tam?
How much are you willing to donate? Huh?
I like that.
It's all for the buddies, Mark.
Tamara, you are such a special human being. You're really just making such an impact. I've thoroughly enjoyed having a conversation with you today. My last question, how can people connect with you? How can people reach out?
It's real easy. I have a website that has, all roads lead back to all the different brands I'm involved with, in particular the Buddies. So if you just go to my name, TamaraLHunter.com, you can find you can find out about the Buddies. You can contact me there, send me a note, send me some love, get involved with the tour of love. You can, all roads lead back. And also, I have some fun free stuff that's there for you guys too. So, TamaraLHunter.com.
TamaraLHunter.com. Tamara, thank you so much for coming on the Brilliance Business Show today. I would encourage all of my listeners out there, if you have a loved one, a family member, a friend, someone who could really do with some support, who is suffering with cancer, I would really encourage you to just share the website address with them. They don't even have to do any action. Let them do their own research. But there is nothing to lose and everything to gain from going to TamaraLHunter.com. This could really help change your life. It could help you move forward in a more positive direction, have hope for the future, and it can save lives. Tamara, thank you so much for being on my show today.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate you very much. I do.
It's been my pleasure. You have been listening to the Brilliance Business Show. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler, conversations with leading experts in business.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.